Hey guys, it's Kyle from Grassroots POV, and today I'll be breaking down my matchday experience at an AV Alta match, with this one being against fellow first-year team FC Naples. So full disclosure, AV Alta is my local team, so I definitely have a soft spot for them. I live in Torrance, California, in what's called the South Bay of Los Angeles, and the club is in Lancaster. So depending on the day, it's about an hour and a half or so. So for USL League One, definitely is my local team. Prior to the match, I connected with two members of the 661 supporters group. Javi and Richard, who had both been huge supporters of the Grassroots POV page even before I had met them in person, so huge shout out to them. For context, although I'm not a fan of MLS as a league and the practices they do as a league, the clubs and the communities and stuff, I do think there is a lot to take from there and inspire in creating this more established USL league. So I grew up in LA. I'm a huge Galaxy fan. So Richard and Javi, who one's an LAFC, one is a Galaxy fan, sort of gave me some really good insight on the dynamic of LAFC and Galaxy fans all coming together to root for one club in AV Alta.
Obviously, it's like a friendly, banter between both clubs and those that go LAFC and Galaxy. But once again, we're here for AV Alta. We all come united. At the end of the day, we're here for this club. That's separate, but we get along. There's always like, hey, we got 6 more than you do, and here and that. But at the end of the day, we're all friends.
I hated him from the minute I met him. I hated him because he had a Galaxy jersey. But like you said, we're here for a greater cause. MLS, they're a money league. We're here for our city, our community.
The youth too, we get a lot of kids from around our local high schools. We actually have 4 of them playing for the first team right now, so we're trying to make that further on to the team's future, So it's like based on our community and I want to say, part of our badge that will identify us what we are for this club and this community.
Now to the game itself, the layout of the stadium is really unique. Baseball stadiums in general for soccer, while oftentimes a necessary starting point financially, are a huge inconvenience and an eyesore that I think can really hurt these grassroots leagues and clubs at times in the U.S. This stadium, Lancaster Municipal, or the Hangar, is a total exception, as they've fully redone the stadium to really just only accommodate soccer. As the stands sort of wrap around the corners and leave no huge gaps from the field to the stands, which I think provides a really cool, intimate atmosphere. And then to the actual match play, in the 32nd minute, Jimmy Villalobos, Bakersfield product, so local, and former forward Madison, Red Wolves, and Knoxville player, made it 1-0 with a great strike from outside the box. I was really impressed with the 661 throughout the match, making a ton of noise with both instruments and voices. I love the steep stands that they set up in as well. I feel like being in that setup gives off a really imposing feeling towards the opposing team, sort of like a team with Dortmund at their stadium with the really steep ultras section. I feel like it just gives off a really intimidating vibe, and it's just kind of cool. Not something you see a lot in the U.S. Another aspect of the stadium itself that I liked in the operations is that the Alta players walk directly through the concourses to get to their locker room for pre-match and for halftime and coming back out. They obviously block off a path for them for a few minutes, so it does leave you a little bit, quote-unquote, trapped in a way, but it's only for a few minutes as they come through, and it gives them a chance to have fans line up for high fives, autographs, etc., and it gives the players a chance to really connect with that community and really connect with a lot of the youth. Unfortunately for the home crowd, FC Naples left back Cisneros hit one of the best strikes I've ever seen in any person at any level to tie the match at 1 in stoppage time, a result that would ultimately hold, giving each team a point. My first takeaway from the match and the experience was the level of competition. You could tell that these two are really well-managed clubs and teams in regards to tactics and discipline, something that's missing from a lot of these USL teams, in my opinion. On my experience growing up playing soccer at a bunch of different levels through the grassroots, you can almost always tell the quality of a player and a squad in general throughout their first touch, and both of these sides throughout the entire game couldn't have been more clinical in their delivery and first touch. My second takeaway was sort of echoing previous sentiments, but the buy-in from the fans. I watched portions of the match from different ends of the stadium to kind of get that different vibe, and each section of the stadium had a different vibe. Whether it be the Ultras section with the 661, they have a whole family stands, part of the reason why it doesn't really look like a baseball stadium, which is nice, and behind the benches. Regardless, each section I noticed was extremely into the match, and some I've seen throughout a lot of USL compared to a lot of these MLS teams and stuff. I didn't see a lot of people zoning out on their phones, texting, stuff like that. It was the night of El Tráfico, the match between LAFC and Galaxy, so you had people kind of murmuring throughout the crowd. There was a last-minute Galaxy tying goal, so you kind of heard some trash talking back and forth between some of the fans, like we had said earlier. But in general, I think especially in the LA area, so many people go to Dodgers, Lakers, Kings games for status and a good social media post rather than the game itself. So it was really refreshing, especially in LA, specifically in the general LA area, to have such an invested crowd that was really into the match itself. And my last takeaway is pretty basic, and it's just that I'm so happy a club like this that has such a close tie with the community and so much buy-in will be part of that promotion relegation in a few years, and they'll have a few years under their belt, so they'll truly, really know their identity, how to interact with the community, things like that. And also, selfishly, just the proximity of the club to where I live. It's so cool to have a USL League One team, which I think would probably be my favorite league in the US as of now. It's so cool to have access and such accommodating people at the club and in the supporters group. It's really nice, selfishly, to have that close to home, and I'll definitely be going back often. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what you think I can do better with these videos or continue to do well. Still trying to figure this out on the fly a little bit. So next week I'll be posting a few more of these videos. I think I'll get to the Portland Hearts of Pine one, which is one of my favorite clubs and supporter sections I've ever covered throughout all my sports journalism short career. I think the best stories, match itself, and content in general I got along the whole trip were AV Alta and Portland Hearts of Pine, so I'm especially looking forward to sharing those stories with you.